Here's a mug. Nothing special about it. Chipped rim, dull color. The kind of thing you'd shove to the back of a cupboard and forget for a decade. But watch what happens the very second I put it in your hand. Because now it's yours. And suddenly it's worth £7, minimum, and you'd feel robbed selling it for less. Yet if I offered that exact same mug to the person sitting next to you, they'd barely look up, shrug, and say it's worth about 3. Same chip, same boredom, same mug. So why does one lump of cheap pottery cost £7 in one hand and 3 in the other, when it's the identical object and nobody has even used it yet? Because this is one of the strangest, most repeated findings in all of money psychology. And it has a name, the Endowment Effect. Back in 1990, 3 researchers, Kahneman, Knetsch, and Thaler, grabbed an ordinary room full of ordinary people and split them clean down the middle. Half of them were simply handed a mug to keep. No effort, no choice, no reason, just a plain coffee mug pressed into their palm with a, "Congratulations, it's yours." The other half got nothing but a wallet and one simple question: how much would you be willing to pay to own one of those mugs? And here's the split that quietly broke a whole chunk of economics. The owners, on average, flat out refused to sell their mug for less than about £7. But the buyers, same mug, same room, same minute, same everything, would only pay about 3 for it. The owners demanded roughly double what the buyers would pay for an object that had been handed out completely at random minutes earlier. And that gap, that ridiculous doubling, is the endowment effect caught red-handed. Now your first instinct is probably the obvious one. That's just people being greedy, holding out for more, playing the seller to squeeze a better deal. But that's the twist, and it's stranger than greed, because these weren't sellers, they were just people, and the mug was worthless 5 minutes ago. The value didn't creep up because they sat and thought about it. It jumped the instant. The mug touched their skin before their brain had done a single sum. Ownership, it turns out, isn't a price you calculate. It's a feeling your brain slaps on automatically, and the only label it uses is one tiny word: mine. And the moment your brain stamps something mine, it stops seeing the object clearly and starts seeing it fondly, which is a lovely feeling and a terrible way to set a price. And here's what's really running the whole thing underneath. Losing something you already own hurts far more than gaining the exact same thing ever feels good. Handing that mug over doesn't feel like a fair swap in your head. It feels like a loss, an actual little wound. So your brain jacks the price up to make the pain of letting go worth it. That's why the owner clings. Not because the mug is special, but because your brain would genuinely rather keep a thing it doesn't need than feel the sting of giving it away. Remember the IKEA effect, where the sweat of actually building something with your own hands made you overvalue the wonky result? Well, this is its far lazier cousin. The IKEA effect made you overvalue what you built. But the endowment effect makes you overvalue what you merely own, with no effort, no assembly, no work whatsoever. You didn't lift a finger, you didn't earn it, you didn't even choose it. You just held it for 30 seconds. And that alone was enough to double the number in your head. And this, right here, is why you physically cannot sell your own junk. That dead phone in the drawer, the jeans you swear you'll fit into again, the vintage chair that is, let's be honest, just a broken chair. You list the lamp at £40 because to you, it's your lamp with your memories. But the buyer sees a broken lamp and offers 4. And you're genuinely insulted, and so it never, ever sells. You're not even looking at the same object. You see history and ownership. They see a cracked lamp on a marketplace, and both of you are certain the other one is mad. So it all just sits there for years, priced by your feelings, quietly ignored by every single person who doesn't share them. Here's the one simple move that beats it every time, and it costs you absolutely nothing. I call it the £3 test. Before you name a price for anything you own, pretend for 1 second that you don't own it yet. You're the buyer, walking in stone cold, seeing this thing for the very first time. Then ask what a total stranger would honestly hand over for it. Not what it's worth to you, but what someone with zero attachment would actually pay. And that colder, smaller number is the real one. Price your junk like a buyer instead of an owner, and watch it actually sell. Because for the first time, you've named the price the market was quietly offering you all along. And the wild part is, you're not even losing money. You're finally getting money, because a thing sold for 3 real pounds beats a thing hoarded at an imaginary 7 forever. Because the truth is, the mug was never worth 7 pounds. It was worth 3 the entire time. The only thing that ever changed was whose hand it happened to be sitting in. So the next time you catch yourself refusing to let something go for a perfectly fair price, stop and ask the one honest question: is this thing really worth that much? Or does it just have the magic word mine stamped all over it? Tell me in the comments, what's the one thing you own that you know nobody would pay what you think it's worth? And if your brain's been quietly overcharging you your whole life, subscribe. We pull one of these hidden money glitches apart every single week.